Why did you put Sue Novak on administrative leave?
As I had said before, there were some allegations related to Sue Novak and the rest of the leadership team that came to our attention. I put her out on administrative leave with pay because in order for us to conduct an investigation with integrity and not to obstruct the investigation, we needed to place her out on administrative leave with pay.
Okay, and what was and what did you need to investigate that you couldn't do with her being there?
Well, there were allegations related to the escape and the security of the institution. And so in order for us to properly conduct an investigation where witnesses feel comfortable coming forward without the boss being there, that was why we placed her out on administrative leave with pay.
Okay. Again, maybe you can answer my question, which is what were the issues that you were concerned about Sue Novak affecting? What investigation, I guess, was to be accurate?
I'm sorry, I don't think I understand your question, sir.
Sure, you're posing a hypothetical. I'm asking you for specifics. So I'm saying what specific investigation would have been, let's say, altered by the presence of Sue Novak as the warden?
I'm going to object to the form of the question. There's no hypothetical there. She explained exactly, answered the question that he was asking.
Okay, 1 second.
Well,
all right, so 1 second. No, let's 1 second. Okay. Ms. Fassehaye, was the decision to put Ms. Novak and the other leadership team something that was unusual when you were investigating people at their level to put them on leave? Was that an unusual decision or was that a normal decision? Can you speak to that?
I can't speak to what was done in the past. It certainly was appropriate in this instance to put them out on administrative leave with pay.
What about the situation with Ms. Novak and the other leadership people at CCI at the time of the prison break made you believe that it was appropriate to put them on leave? What specific things did you consider making that decision?
I believed that having leadership under investigation while at an institution where individuals are coming forward making allegations against them, having them present there could obstruct the integrity of the investigation. And so for that reason, it was appropriate for us to place them on leave. It was not a decision that was made lightly, but in order for us to have a fair and honest investigation and with people that would be willing to actually come forward and provide information, we did not believe that their presence would be appropriate.
And if they had not been put on leave, would Ms. Novak and the other leadership team have been present during the discussions with these employees that you're talking about that were brought in to discuss the conduct?
That is correct, because each of them supervised individuals at various levels that were interviewed. So I did not want to chill any type of witness testimony, if you will, or witness cooperation by having their presence there.
Is there any other reason that you had regarding Ms. Novak and the leadership team at CCI that made you decide at that time to put them on leave, other than what you just said?
That was it.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Cross.
Thank you. Okay, so yes, you said that there were Ms. Novak's subordinates made allegations against Ms. Novak. Did I misunderstand that?
Can you repeat your question?
Yes, did I misunderstand you to say that Ms. Novak's, Warden Novak's subordinates made allegations against Warden Novak related to the escape?
That's what I remember, yes.
Okay, what were those allegations?
I don't remember specifics without looking at the investigations.
Okay, how about anything non-specific?
I mean, it was related to the lead up to the escape and security issues. That's what I remember.
Okay. And again, like you said before, with the escape, can you again specify what security issues and what leading up to the escape you're talking about?
I thought I already answered that, sir.
So there was allegations about no ID made against Warden Novak?
I did not say that.
Okay, how about no escort?
Not say that.
Was Warden Novak supposed to be in the tower?
Did not say that.
Oh, okay. Well, then can you explain to me what you did mean?
You asked me what the security issues were. I explained to you what the security issues were.
Right. I asked you what the security issues were surrounding that allegations, later connected to allegations that Ms. Novak's subordinates made against Ms. Novak.
And I said that I do not remember what the specific allegations were against Ms. Novak without reviewing the investigations.
Okay. Did she assist them, the inmates, to climb over the razor wire fence anytime?
I've never said that.
Okay. And did she turn off the stun fence?
Not say that.
Okay. But is it something else that in that list that I mentioned there? Now, does that help refresh your memory?
I'm going to object. This is not only asked and answer, but we're borderline badgering at this point.
She said she didn't remember. We went through the list that she did remember. And she's now, I mean, we're asking her if that list refreshes her memory. That's not asked and answered. I can't hear you.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was muted. Okay, so yes. Just answer that question, please. Does this list of things that you recall from other parts of the investigation help you remember anything specific about why you wanted to investigate Ms. Novak or Warden Novak?
That specific, the specific list that Attorney Cross has listed are not the specifics that I recall us investigating Sue Novak for. Those were issues that came up as a course of the investigation. Other individuals were investigated for specific participation leading up to the escape. The allegations against Sue Novak, generally speaking, were about issues related to the security of the institution. So that is where we started, and then it was investigated. So that is what I can recall. I don't recall specific allegations towards her, but no, she did not assist the inmates from escaping the prison herself.
Okay, and how about specific allegations against the security director? Were there any specific allegations against the security director?
It was same as Sue Novak. There were security issues that the security director was responsible for that were not addressed, and therefore we decided we needed to investigate.
Okay, deputy warden, how about that?
The same thing.
How about the deputy administrator?
What about the deputy administrator?
What about the responsibilities over the security that the deputy administrator had?
I'm going to object. It assumes facts, not in evidence.
Which facts? Like he's the supervisor, like that fact, or some other fact?
Okay, Mr. Cross, this isn't productive. Okay, Ms. Fassehaye, to your knowledge, was there issues involving the security that Mr. Percy was responsible for at the time of the jailbreak that were concerning to you?
No, ma'am.
Go ahead, Mr. Cross.
Well, okay, I appreciate that question, but you're clear that Doug Percy is the supervisor of the wardens, right?
Of this particular warden, yes.
Okay, right, because there's two administrators or deputy administrators, and part of that supervision is being responsible for the security of the institution, right?
I don't know that I would say that specifically, no.
Oh, okay, so he just self-supervise HR?
Supervises personnel.
Okay, anything else?
Would have to pull up his job description, sir.
Okay. So how about you? Are you responsible for the security at the institutions while you were the administrator?
I'm responsible for the management and operations I was responsible for management and operations of 36 prisons and supervision of personnel.
Is that a yes or something else?
I'm answering the question.
Great. Is that a yes or something else?
Security was under my purview as well as others.
Okay, Doug Percy, for example.
What about Doug Percy?
Security was also under Doug Percy's purview, for example.
We had a specific security chief whose responsibility was security.
Oh, okay. Did you investigate the security chief anytime?
I did not.
What was the sex of that security chief?
He was a man.
Right. That's Mr. Fuchs, right?
That is correct.
Yeah, he's now the warden there, right? At Columbia.
That is correct.
He got Miss Novak's job, didn't he?
That was prior to the escape that we made that decision for him to go to CCI.
Uh-huh. But it didn't happen until after. And prior to the escape, Miss Novak was supposed to go to Red Granite, right?
Yes.
Okay. And Mr. Fuchs was then also supposed to become the warden of CCI during that decision, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that didn't happen, right?
What didn't
Is
happen?
Miss Novak the warden at Red Granite, for example?
She is not. She retired.
Oh, okay. So again, my question was, Mr. Fuchs got Miss Novak's job, right?
Mr. Fuchs got a position as the warden of CCI.
Okay. And he was responsible for security at the institution as well as yourself, right?
Responsible for the oversight of 36 prisons, the security oversight of 36 prisons. So not just any one institution.
Oh, okay.
The warden, the deputy warden, and the security director at the institution were responsible for the specific security at their institution.
And is there a 15807 under Mr. Fuchs?
No,
Why not?
don't have anything.
You don't have anything. Okay. Now, again, there was a security audit into the state of this stun fence, wasn't there?
Correct.
And there's more than one, right?
I don't know.
Okay. Which one do you remember?
There was one that happened prior to my administration.
Okay. Now, Mr. Fuchs had access to this security audit, right?
Object, it calls for speculation.
If you know, do you know?
He had access to it certainly after the escape. I don't know if he had access to it prior to.
Okay, did you have access to the security audit prior to the escape?
I only recall having access to after it. I didn't know of its existence until after the escape.
Okay, but did you have access to it?
I don't know.
Okay, what would have prevented you from having access to it prior to the escape?
I
Object,
don't recall.
Okay, what's on what back?
I don't know. Are you objecting or are you letting me answer?
the question is, it assumes facts that are not in evidence. She said that she doesn't know if she had access to it. She actually testified that she didn't even know of its existence, so she can't possibly testify to what, if anything, prevented her access to that document.
Okay, Mr. Cross?
Okay, so as administrator, are there any documents that you at the Department of Corrections that you didn't have access to?
I mean, yes, there was, I don't know what I didn't have access to.
Okay. But how about security audits for institutions under your supervision?
Object, again, asked and answered.
Interesting. I don't see how this is helpful to us.
Okay.
Unless you can prove she actually knew about the document and refused to look at it, or she looked at it and didn't do anything. I don't see how this is helpful.
Well, that's only if we accept this magical belief that somebody doesn't know about anything or is not responsible for anything that happened before they got there. Because that only applies to apparently above the rank of warden, but it doesn't apply to female wardens.
That's just an argument. That's not a question. Let's move on to questions. You want to argue it? Go ahead and argue it later.
Well, I was arguing relevance. That's why.
And I think we've had the questioning and you've got the basis for your argument. If you want it, let's move on.
I understand. Thank you. So, what documents from the investigation did you review prior to signing the 15807 against Sue Novak?
I don't remember.
Okay. Did you look at any of the investigative summaries against the lower ranking employees?
It's possible, but I don't remember exactly.
Okay. Well, then how did you come to believe that lower ranking employees made accusations against Sue Novak?
I said it's possible that I reviewed them. I just don't remember exactly. But we also had conversations with investigators, so I don't remember exactly how the information came to me, sir.
You had direct conversations with Mr. Sonnenberg?
I don't remember.
Okay, how about Christy Preston?
Probably yes.
First try. Probably yes. Okay, while the investigation was going on or something else?
Objective,
Well,
we
Christy-
don't know which investigation he's talking about.
Okay, I'll be happy to be clear. The first wave of investigations, that's what I thought we were talking about. But I'll be happy to be clear. Thank you.
I mean, Chrissy Preston would update us on where the investigations were at. So yes, I had conversations with Chrissy Preston.
Okay, about how often did you have conversations with Christy Preston about the investigation?
Don't remember.
Was it once a week?
I don't remember.
More than once a week?
You'd have to check my calendar, sir.
Okay. So these are calendar Your meetings with Chrissy Preston were calendared?
I don't remember. Sometimes, again, these were fluid conversations. We had conversations with people at a moment's notice, some that were scheduled. I don't recall if every conversation was ever calendared, but my calendar was up to date.
Okay, did you have calendared conversations with Carr about about Warden Novak?
I don't know that we had calendared conversations specific to Warden Novak. We had calendared meetings on a regular basis, and we also spoke outside of any calendared meetings on a regular basis.
Did you have calendared meetings with Secretary Carr about the escape?
I don't remember.
Okay. So do I understand you correctly that it's conversations that you had with Chrissy Preston that formed the basis of your conclusion that lower ranking employees made allegations against Sue Novak?
That's not what I said.
I understand that. That's what I'm saying is that I was making that inference based on what you said, and I was asking you if that was an accurate inference.
I don't believe it's an accurate inference, no.
Okay. So the conversations with Ms. Preston did not form a part of your decision to sign this 15807. Is that fair?
I don't remember.
Oh, okay. Now, before you were saying, I guess the issue though is, are you then consulting with HR or you could then consulting with Secretary Carr after you learn this information from either Ms. Preston or reading it in these summaries or somewhere else because you can't remember?
I don't understand your question.
Okay. After you learned of these allegations, we're clear that you don't remember how you learned of these allegations, right?
That is correct.
Okay, so after you learned of these allegations, although you can't remember how you learned of them, what steps did you take next?
I know that I likely consulted with HR, with legal, and then notified the secretary of next steps.
Okay, what did HR say?
Don't remember.
Okay, what did you get any advice from legal?
I'm going to object to the extent that he's asking for substance, not the
didn't ask for it.
conversation itself, but the substance. I object to that.
Fair enough, but I won't ask for that. But that's why I just said, did you get any advice?
Probably.
Okay, do you remember or something else?
I don't remember.
Okay, what if anything was a substance abuse? But do you remember having a conversation with Carr?
I had a number of conversations with Carr related to the escape and everything afterwards. So I remember having multiple conversations after the escape and yes.
Great, but the question that we just were talking about was after you learned of these allegations, although you don't remember when or how you learned of them, who did you talk to? Then I understood you to say you talked to HR, legal, and Secretary Carr. You don't recall what HR said. You don't recall if you got any advice from legal. Now I'm asking you, do you recall what your conversation with Secretary Carr was? I know you've had many conversations with Secretary Carr, but I'm asking you if you recall this conversation with Secretary Carr.
Do not remember.
Oh, okay, you don't remember anything about it?
All I remember is what I told you, which is I remember notifying him that we were going to put Sue Novak under investigation and that we were going to have to place her in administrative leave with pay for the reasons that I've already testified to. Outside of that, I don't remember the conversations. We would talk hours at end any given day. So I do not remember specifics.
Okay, great. So So then is it fair to say that you learned of these allegations? Then you made the decision, but of course you don't remember where, but then you made the decision to put Sue Novak out on administrative leave and sign the 15807, and then you talked to Carr. Is that right?
I don't think that's correct. No.
No. Okay. Right, because the 15807 and the administrative leave are separate, or no?
They are separate documents.
Did those decisions happen at the same time or something else?
The decisions, what decisions?
The decision to investigate Miss Novak and to put her on administrative leave. Did those decisions take place at the same time or something else?
The decision to investigate Miss Novak and the decision to put her on administrative leave with pay were decisions that were made together.
Okay, and who made the decision to put her on leave with pay?
I did.
Okay. And what was the reason for putting her on leave with pay?
I guess I'm not sure if you're asking me why I put her on administrative leave with pay or why it was with pay.
I don't understand the distinction, but you keep saying with pay, with pay, with pay. So I want to know why you decided to put her on administrative leave with pay as opposed to administrative leave without pay.
So, because there was no basis to put her out on administrative leave without pay, I believe there was either a policy or a statute or something that we had to follow. So there was no basis to get to that level. The only times I ever recall us putting someone out on administrative leave without pay is when there were felony charges.
Okay. So how did you know that what the allegations against Sue Novak didn't rise to that level?
I didn't. That's why we had to do an investigation. I did not know what was going to be found as a result of the investigation. So in order for her to have her due process and ensure that we were not violating any of her rights, we put her out on administrative leave with pay.
Okay. So, but again, you had to make some kind of sifting and winnowing process in order to decide whether to put her on with pay or without pay, right?
No, there wasn't a question.
Okay. So
One
not
second,
significant.
Mr. Cross.
Thanks.
The distinction she made was very clear. So, Ms. Fassehaye, at the time that you put Ms. Novak on leave, was she charged with any felonies?
No, ma'am.
Okay, and to your knowledge, she was never charged with any felonies.
That is correct.
And given that, would you have put her on leave without pay?
I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, if she had not been put on, if she had no felonies, you just said previously that that was the distinction, correct?
Yes, what I was saying is the only time I ever recall is putting someone on administrative leave without pay is if they had felony charges. I don't know if that was the standard, but that was not the norm. We always, if we were going to put someone out on leave, it was with pay.
So did you ever consider putting Ms. Novak on leave without pay?
No, ma'am.
Go ahead, Mr. Cross.
All right. But you could have not put her on leave at all, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And when was that decision made?
I'm going to object, asked and answered.
As to time frame, are you asking, Mr. Cross? Because otherwise she's already discussed that.
Yeah, that's the time frame.
Do you recall specifically a date or something when you decided to put Ms. Novak or Warden Novak on leave without pay, with pay?
No, I don't remember the date. It would be on the administrative leave letter.